Hello, and welcome to another Hunty's Music Zine interview. Today I'm talking with Steve, aka Hyenablood, known for his many musical projects as well as his design work as FERAMVSA. In this podcast, we chat about Steve's music and how he juggles his various work, his journey as a composer for visual novels, and his latest record, Plasma Cutter 3. Swords and potions and crystals and sweet tea and flowers and spell scrolls and drawings of dogs and some songs. Let's get into it. Icebreaker. I would love to know what you've been listening to lately, and perhaps what your favorite release that has come out this year is.
Oh my god.
So far, at least.
Let me so I started last year making little playlists on Spotify of releases of that year, just because my memory is garbage.
Yes.
I retain nothing. So I had to start making playlists of releases just so I could remember what actually came out that year.
I'm the same way. I literally started last year with a 2023 playlist, and anything that came out that caught my ear, I just threw it in there. I was like, okay, at least now I can I can go have something to reference when I'm asked something like this.
Yeah, I'm actually realizing I forgot to put something in there. A couple days ago, I think I just did that thing where I remembered a band from 15 years ago that I listened to in high school, and was oh, I should listen to that again. And then went through related artists and just did that Wikipedia link diving, but for music ass shit.
Oh yeah, the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I did that a couple nights ago and ended up being in 2020 Beneath the Massacre put a new album out, and I had no idea. And so the past basically 24 hours, or maybe it's been almost 48 now, I have no sense of time. The past 2 days basically, I've been just re-listening to them, but also listening to that album. The hell is it called? Fearmonger. I've been listening to that a bunch, just the past 2 days, and being oh right, I was obsessed with this band right out of high school. So I've been listening to that a lot. Obviously the new Knocked Loose whips ass. New Greyhaven is really good. I gave the new the new CU Space Cowboy a couple runs through. What else? There's new Idola. The new Infant Island's really good. There's a bunch of cool stuff that's already come out.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year for music.
Yeah, it's already been really good. Yeah, I guess that, and then if I'm not listening to new stuff, I go back to the Outer Wilds soundtrack a lot, almost constantly, and then
and that's something you worked on, right?
No, oh my god, I wish.
Okay.
Outer Wilds is an indie game that came out. When the hell did it come out? I don't know. Wow, I've made this game my entire personality, and I don't remember the release date. 2019. It came out May 28th, 2019.
Okay.
It was composed by Andrew Pralo. I've never heard his name said out loud, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Apparently he's from I think Winter Park, somewhere around me in
nice.
The Orlando area.
Yeah.
And he's been doing the soundtrack for Outer Wilds with a chamber orchestra. But he's only done it in California and New York, and I'm Andrew, Andrew, please, you grew up by me. Please, just come home, please. Like, it sucks here, but please.
Where's the hometown show?
Exactly. I'm like, come on, you have to, please. I want it. But yeah, so that, and then like Endless Hallway by He Is Legend, that came out like 2 years ago. I've gone back to that a couple times, but yeah, like super recently, it's mostly been like Beneath the Massacre and Knocked Loose, because I'm just a nasty little boy that likes heavy, angry shit.
Hell yeah. That's good. I didn't even realize some of those bands had released new stuff this year. I knew like I had seen some of the singles from Knocked Loose and See You Space Cowboy, but I didn't even realize they dropped new shit. I'm off my game.
I would have forgot. That's why you got to keep the yearly release playlist.
Yeah, for real. Got to keep track. Oh my god, yeah, no, I've been much more on like a electronic kick and more indie stuff. So
hell yeah,
it makes sense that I've kind of neglected the heavier stuff. But definitely need to get back into it. We're doing some.
It's so hard to like keep up with stuff like once your like tastes expand and also just like as you become like an adult with responsibilities, like not to like age myself, but like back when I was like in high school, I didn't really have anything to do but like homework and then like be on MySpace. So like I was always on top of like every band I liked when they released stuff. Like I immediately knew because I didn't have a life outside of that really. But now like I'm working on like so many visual novels and also like art commissions to get done and like having to like pay rent and like exist as an adult. It's like, well, sorry everyone, I used to like hopefully I'll be aware that you still exist.
I think that's kind of a natural progression of artistry, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know? That's you have to be inspired to become someone who inspires, so to speak. I'm sure there's people who follow your shit like a hawk.
There's probably a couple.
Without a doubt. I guess it's a good segue into talking about like how you manage all your different projects, because you do so much shit, and I already knew before like preparing for this interview that you did a lot of shit, but when I like looked in like because you have like a thread on your your Twitter page,
the release thread.
It's like, oh my god, it's insane. And then, like the like 11 Bandcamp accounts, like just ridiculous.
There are actually literally 11. There's a couple that are like either defunct or like are a thing I plan on writing for but haven't had time to yet. But I actually literally have 11 Bandcamps right now. So
wild.
Funny joke. That's not a joke. The secret to managing all that is I am just absolutely riddled with ADHD. It makes most of my life terrible. I have no executive function whatsoever, but I can hyper focus the fuck out of getting a song done in like a day and a half or 2 days. So that's my secret sauce. I just never stop writing music.
Hell yeah. This dog can do nothing but make music. I love it.
I really can do almost nothing but that.
Hell yeah. Oh my god. I mean, it's very impressive. I'm sure you've heard. We're gonna talk about your new Plasma Cutter release, which is your, like you described as sugary pop punk emo chiptune party rock. Sorry.
Yeah.
that's I'm very excited about that because that's definitely like on the level of stuff that I've been on lately. But aside from that, you have a post-rock ambient project, a chill lo-fi project. You perform as Rune Tooth doing EDM slash DJ. You have a project with Goji. Apparently, I haven't seen anything from it yet, but
oh yeah. So we started that like like in 2018. And it literally took us 6 years to finish the album, which makes me feel so fucking old just to like imagine I worked on an album with someone and it took that fucking long to do it. Like,
that's incredible.
But yeah, just because like we both have our like lives and like it's not like we were constantly working that whole time. Just like whenever we could like meet up and make something happen, you know, a couple songs would get banged out and then it'd be like, all right, well, I'll see you again in like 5 months.
yeah. Oh, that's how it goes for sure.
But yeah, no, we just finished that. We started talking to Aural Alliance about putting it out. I'm probably allowed to talk about that. I don't know.
Cool. Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, we're trying to figure out how release is gonna go. I think that's probably gonna get sorted out when like everything for the Aural Alliance Festival is more like settled and figured out, because they also have like a whole ass festival like organizing international acts to sort out.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Huge endeavor. We can probably get into more of that later, but
yeah, another topic to put a pin in.
Yes, exactly. But no, that's exciting. I mean, I know you have all these like, it seems like mostly solo projects, so it's cool to see something like that coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's nice to like not have to do everything by myself.
Yeah,
have someone else think a little bit.
Yeah, that's very cool. Creative collaboration. It's very good. Aside from all the continuing the list,
yeah, not to sidetrack you.
No. You have Blade of Phanes. How do you say it?
So,
Fuck.
As far as I know, and the internet could have lied to me, I tried to look up a pronunciation thing because it was one of those things where like, all right, I gotta like do a backstory on this. Here's my ADHD taking over.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
So when I started it, first of all, I pronounce it as Blade of Phanes. As far as I know, that's right. But someone, I don't know if you have like a dead language professor that like listens to this and that like knows Latin really well, or Greek. I forget what it is. It's actually probably Greek. I don't know. That's gonna be like, oh, big cringe, you fucked that up bad. But when I think I started it in 2018, and it was back when like Mumsnet was like really becoming like extra unhinged and like specifically targeting trans people to like mass report them on Twitter. And I was like, all right, like I'm real mad about this and I want to say something, but I feel like you're gonna come after me. So how about I just write some really fucked up angry lyrics about you and put it on Bandcamp where you can't fucking do anything about it. And it was like, well, all right, what do I call this? So I tried to like do a funny little search for like I guess like gods that kind of like represented, how did I even find this? I think I was like trying to Google like gods that were kind of like ambiguous in their gender or represented like gender fluidity or something like that, just to be like, all right, like I was basically like picking a name to be like, all right, like I'm gonna be like this, sounds goofy, but like vengeful instrument of like a god that like doesn't fuck with like cis heteronormativity or whatever. And that was what I came up with. It's been like I said, like, oh god, I guess 6 years at this point, I think, since I looked that up, and I haven't looked it up again. So I probably,
It looks. I mean, I think I just looked it up, and it looks like you're pretty on the nail. It's an androgynous deity from before, like Zeus and the Olympians. So
yeah. So I looked that up and I picked that as the name, and then I think I said it wrong for 2 years, and then I was like, you know what? I should make sure I know how to pronounce my own band name. So I tried to like look up a pronunciation, and I think I found like a YouTube like how to pronounce video or something, but only like one, and I was like, well, I hope you're not lying to me. I guess this is it. Which, yeah, I guess feels really on brand for me. Like, I'll just pick a thing and be like, I hope I'm doing this right.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it, you gotta roll with whatever you can find,
As far as I know, though, as long as the pronunciation video I found isn't wrong, it's Phanes.
Okay, cool.
And if it's wrong, whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of bands that no one knows how to pronounce.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure. Okay, well, cool. Blade of Phanes. Hell yeah. That's your, like, super, as you mentioned, like, super aggressive and sort of, I guess, for lack of a better word, political metalcore.
Like, I have several, like, heavy projects just because, like, I'm really fucking neurotic about everything being perfectly organized. Like, all of my music, like, my music library, like, has to be perfect. Like, back in high school, before, like, everything was perfectly, like, curated, and, like, everything had, like, all the metadata automatically filled out, and Spotify was, like, even a thing. Like, I would have my iTunes, and if I had like a local band I got a CD from and it was just like a demo that didn't have album art, I'd be like, no, this makes my brain feel bad. I'm gonna make album art for you. This is not good. Or like if I like got something off fucking like LimeWire or fucking whatever, extremely aging myself here with like fucking LimeWire and MySpace.
I'm with you.
But yeah,
okay.
like any releases I'd find like had to be perfectly organized and curated. So that's kind of how I treat my stuff. Like I have several projects, and it's like I had one that I started that was kind of meant to be like kind of like how there's like the sasscore revival now, like with bands like CU Space Cowboy and shit like that. I started a project and I was like, I'm gonna sound like See You Next Tuesday. That's the bit. It's going to be just irreverent, tongue-in-cheek, goofy, white belt hardcore. What do I call it? I'm just going to pick the first stupid, funny thing that comes to mind because it's a bit. And that, like, I did that back when Homestuck was a thing.
Oh, God.
And at the time, I was, like, excessively into the Tony Danza tap dance extravaganza. So I was like... here my brain was just like, here's two threads to pull. The Andrew Hussey Boogaloo, great, that's my band name. But that ended up just kind of like being fucking whatever. Like it started out being kind of like sasscore, See You Next Tuesday, heavy Lolo kind of shit a little bit. And then I was like, well, I also want to write power violence like Nails, but also I want to write like heavy shit like the Acacia Strain, and it kind of just became like a sandbox where I'd write whatever the fuck genre I wanted.
Okay.
But then like, I'd get to a point where I was like, all right, but I want to do a specific thing and stick with it. So I started another project called Ghosts of Catharsis, which was meant to basically be like, I'm going to rip off August Burns Red, except I'm not as good at guitar as JB Brubaker is, so it'll be almost like them.
Okay. Interesting.
And then what else even? Blade of Phanes, I guess, was just like not like anything else I had already done. Like that's kind of like when I decide I need to start a new project. Like if it doesn't really fit into a pre-existing one, my brain's like, no, it doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good going in that project, time to make a new one. So that ended up coming out, and it's kind of shifted towards, I mean, I just showed you a song earlier today, and like it's very kind of tech deathy sounding, heavily inspired by the fact that I just listened to Beneath the Massacre a bunch. But overall the project is a lot of like end and counterparts and a little bit of like Knocked Loose and I don't even know who else. It's like blackened metalcore with little hints of whatever the fuck else I'm listening to that like really tickles my brain at the time.
Plenty of blast beats, but with the fucking brutal like techie breakdowns and shit. Like I love that. And insane vocals too. Like I don't know how you pull that off, being a multi-instrumentalist but also an incredible vocalist.
Thank you. The secret sauce for that is not doing it in a safe and healthy way.
Oh no.
I mean, so here's the thing. I know that like if I was in a band, like if I actually got in a band with other people and had to tour and stuff, I would treat my vocals like I would treat my voice better. I would do warm-ups, or I guess found a warm-up routine to do that like made sense to me, because I've tried to go through them, and a lot of them I'm just like, is this helping? Right. I don't know. I'm just gonna like retake until it sounds right. So a lot of my songs I just record and I'll just do new takes and kind of like push my voice until it gets to where I want. And I know that's not like super healthy, but I'm not like doing tours and performing live. Like I sit down and I spend like, a couple hours doing a song, and then I don't really have to do anything else again until like the next time I record a song. So I at least give my voice like plenty of time to recover, and like I'm drinking throat coat tea right now. So I have the technique figured out. I just I don't always like ease my voice into doing it like the quote unquote proper healthy way. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I want to get this done, so we're getting it done. Sorry if it feels bad later.
I mean, I totally get that, especially like coming from an era where it's just like you're mostly just like imitating your favorite vocalist, and like you're not really thinking about what your vocal cords are doing. You're just like, this is what they sound like. I'm gonna push my voice until it sounds right, and eventually you kind of find a rhythm with it where it's like you're not blowing your voice out, but you're also just like you might be pushing it a little bit, but it's fine because you're not doing it like every night for a performance or something.
It's like metal vocals are just like such a goofy enigma. Like if someone was ever like, can you teach me how to do that? I'd be like, make the funny noise from The Grudge but louder. Like you just kind of like figure it out, and it's like your parts of your body just do things, and when like it's arranged in the right way to like make the sound. But like you don't know how to tell someone to do that, really. Like I, for years and years, had no idea what was really happening. And then like, when Lorna Shore was like really blowing up, and that YouTube lady, what the heck's her name? The Charismatic Voice, I think. She like linked up with Will Ramos from Lorna Shore to like get like a scope down his nose to like film him doing vocals to see what his throat was doing.
Oh god.
And they were like, oh, like when you do this one specific sound, like your arytenoid cartilage is activating. And I'm like, oh, that's what that's called. Okay, cool. If someone ever asks me how to make that sound, I'll just be like, yeah, like engage your arytenoids. Like they'll totally know what the fuck that means.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I've found what works for me and the sound that like I'm pretty happy with. Like even that song I just showed you earlier, there was a specific vocal style I want to do, and it actually is like that whole like engaging your arytenoid to like do that kind of like low formant sounding kind of acacia strain beneath the massacre kind of sound. And I was like, this sounds forced, this doesn't really sound like me, I'm just gonna drop it and do what I usually do. And then the song happened.
Oh yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fun to have range, but also like not force it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you kind of develop a style or like a set of like ways that like feel okay, at least with screaming, that it's like, okay, I can just kind of reach for that thing that I'm familiar with and
for sure
and apply it here, and maybe push it in a way that applies to the specific song. Hell yeah. Kind of jumping back, I thought about how I think it's cool that you have these like kind of sandbox projects where or just in general, like making music, you just kind of make something and then you say like, oh, this makes sense for this project. At least that's what it seems like from what you're telling me. So it's no, you're right. Like I have like my stuff and I'll be like, oh, I want to write like this. I want to do an ambient thing. So as his exhale is happening, great, cool. Or I want to write something really heavy. It'll probably be Blade of Phanes, like, because that's just like what I'm really focused on right now. I just released the first album, like actual full length, and the song I just finished is the 11th track I finished for the second album. Which is crazy. Like I just never stop writing, so even when I like freshly put an album out, you can safely assume I'm already working on the next one. Which is insane.
Yes,
seeing as you're also working on so many other different things. It's like I mean I'm sure this is like more of like one of your main, like you kind of understand where it's going, so you can kind of
it's
like,
the main thing. It's one of the main ones for sure. But yeah, like so I'll do that, and there's a sound that makes sense for that. And the song I just finished, which, like I said, is like leaning a little into tech death. I was like, should I make another new Bandcamp for this? And I was like, no. Like, chill out. It'll just be this. It's fine. I think I want to pull some influence from that kind of style, but I'm also not good enough at guitar to like really do like the crazy sweet picked tapping, crazy technical stuff. So I'm like, I think until like I force myself to, practice and get good enough to do that really technical shit, I really shouldn't like justify doing another Bandcamp for just that. But yeah, like basically I have like things I like I can't talk. Things I gravitate towards. I think I was going to say magnetize, and halfway through I was like, no, that's not the right word.
It works.
ADHD in real time. Check it out, folks. But yeah, no, like I have stuff I gravitate towards, and then as soon as it deviates just a little bit too much from that, it's like, well, this doesn't make sense for this, so it's time for a new project. And that's kind of like how I've ended up like with this whole cinematic universe of Bandcamp accounts. Yeah,
that's cool though. I mean, it like I think it's like using your that ADHD brain for in a way that makes sense for you. It's like separating everything into their little categories. And,
yeah, for sure.
It kind of prevents you from having a project that's just like all over the place, and so you can kind of.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, like especially with like the range of stuff I make, it just like that just wouldn't even remotely make sense. Like if I didn't separate it, like someone could be like, oh, like I want to listen to some of Steve's sleepy music, and they like get jump scared with the scariest breakdown of their life halfway into like the night. Like I'm not gonna do that to people. But yeah, no, and like I think it helps a lot. Maybe part of why I'm able to write so frequently is I have all these different places. I don't get the opportunity really to be bored with anything I'm working on. Like my focus will be on one thing, and I don't usually get bored with it. I'll just be like, oh wait, but hang on, I gotta go do this other thing real quick. So like I think like 6 or so songs as of this recording into the next As Seas Exhale album. And I'm really excited to work on that, but also like every once in a while I'll be like, oh, but I want to write a heavy song. Okay, I'll go do that real quick.
Yeah.
And like having all these different things constantly changes, like, I guess like the parts of my brain I'm using. Like there's like the ambient music part and the really fucked up heavy stuff, and then like the indie folk kind of a part of my brain, and like none of it really gets a chance to get burnt out because I'm always jumping back and forth, I guess, between everything, which I guess feels like good advice. Like if anyone like, I don't know if anyone's like listening to this and is like, oh, like how do you stay inspired with your music? I guess like don't feel like you have to stick with one sound. Like experiment with stuff and make a bunch of different things, because then if you have all these different things you're trying, you don't really get a chance to like get burnt out or bored with anything.
Yeah. I love that. I feel I think I relate to that a lot too, because I'm in like a heavier project, and then like I've been wanting to work on, like more soft electronic music for so long, and I definitely find that like when I'm kind of focusing on the more electronic stuff for longer, there's like a itch building in me to like jump back to like writing heavy stuff. So like I'll jump into like some of the songs that we're working on, and I'll write some bass parts, and I'll like practice some of the songs. And that like definitely quells that like need to do something different. And like you're saying, it helps alleviate that burnout, and it's just kind of like almost like a palate cleanser in a way too.
Yeah. It definitely can feel like that. Like it's just like you don't really, I don't know, like I said, you don't get a chance to get bored with anything. Like everything kind of feels maybe not fresh and new, but like it still feels exciting, because like you don't, at least for me, I just do whatever feels right. Like whatever I feel like making, I go and make that. So nothing's really forced for me anymore, other than like, stuff I've been hired for. But even that, like a lot of like the visual novels I write for, people seek me out specifically for like the stuff I do. Like I think I'm like becoming like the crybaby ambient music guy for visual novels. So someone will be like, oh, I need like ambient environmental music, and I'll be like, yep, let me fire up the pedal boards. I got you, dude. It's good. We got it. And I've like even convinced a couple to like let me write actually pretty fucked up heavy sounding stuff. Like there's a visual novel where someone was asking me to do something. How did they describe it? It was someone that's like not familiar with heavy music, but like it's the setting's like a cyberpunk future kind of thing, and they wanted like punk music in a bar, and I don't know, something like that.
Okay,
and I was like, I see you, I hear you, but what if you let me make a really fucked up heavy post-hardcore song for this? Here's some examples, here's what I want to do. And the writer was like, yeah, sounds good, go for it. There's another visual novel where they like wanted me to write for a fight scene coming up in an upcoming chapter, and I was like, okay, I want to do something heavy and fucked up and stressful. Can I just make something that sounds like Doom? And I did, and it's probably one of the like wildest sounding things I think that'll be coming up in like a visual novel. Like granted, I don't have time to play a lot of them because I'm always working on them, but I don't know of any where there's just straight up ugly, stressful, fucked up, like Mick Gordon sounding breakdowns. And I'm really excited that I just get to like go to these people that like are hiring me and be like, cool, I see what you're saying, but what if I do this? And they're like, yeah, you're right, you should. I'm like, cool, I'm glad I have this power.
That's so sick. I'm very glad you're like in that space where you can kind of make, you have this like kind of thing that you're known for and that people seek you out for. And then like, there's also these like kind of side little songs and pieces of these projects that like you're able to like throw in your other, musical interest into, so that it keeps things fresh.
It's super fun, and yeah, it keeps things fresh. And like, again, I've like been really lucky that like I've managed to talk people into letting me do stuff that like, I mean, thankfully people trust me with their vision. I don't know if like everyone like hear someone being like, okay, I'm gonna use my 7-string guitar and there's gonna be some synths and it's gonna be really fucked up and there's gonna be like stressful hand percussion and like how about this? And they'd be like, are you okay? Like I'm really thankful that like everyone usually like is into what I try.
Nice.
And yeah, like it's like, I guess we'll probably, I don't know, visit this more in depth later, so I don't have to talk about this forever, but like the whole visual novel scene is like I said, like I don't have time to play all of them. I don't know how many people really get to like push the genres that are in the soundtracks for them. And like it's definitely a really cool place to see like where production quality is being pushed and like where the bar's being raised, because like even 10 years ago there was a lot of like, royalty free to use music getting put in stuff, and now like there's people like me and Mo who like goes by Anthemics, and who else, Martini Dog, he does stuff like, there's all these people that like are getting hired as composers for all of these indie games and visual novels and stuff, and the bar is raised super high, I think, just in the sense of like quality of soundtracks, because it's not just like, oh, I had to go find a thing that's free to use that kind of fits the mood I'm going for. Like people are able to hire someone and be like, this is the scene we're doing, we need you to write for this, and it's actually an original piece for that. And for me, it's been exciting just to like do stuff that like, as far as I know, I haven't really seen anywhere. Like you mentioned Plasma Cutters coming up. There's a visual novel I work on called Remember the Flowers, and there's a scene where like there's a time capsule gets found by the main character, and they open it up and there's like not a Game Boy, because like that's a brand or whatever, and this is like an alternate universe or fucking whatever, but like let's just say a Game Boy. And one of their friends gets them to like fix it, and like, oh, it's this thing I cherished with my dad way back forever ago, and like it's so cool to see it running. And I was like, hey, like what if I make like a funny little Game Boy sounding thing for like when that like they managed to fix that. Ooh. And then I was like, all right, but hear me out. What if I just make like a whole ass fucking Plasma Cutter song for that, and like you just like make that the credits? And so they did that, and I don't know anything that's like Plasma Cutter going on in any visual novels, like,
oh yeah.
And I guess for like people, and I mean you kind of already described it, but I guess for people that haven't heard it, it's very much like, I guess like, what if like Anamanaguchi did more guitars, maybe?
Yeah,
it's basically that, like, it's a lot of like chiptune and pop punk with like more and more emos getting thrown in there, some garage rock, because I don't try to chase the sound of Fully Cooley, but I like to write stuff for Plasma Cutter that makes me feel how Fully Cooley made me feel the first time I saw it.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a great,
so like,
inspiration.
That's the kind of like energy that has, and I don't know anything, that has music like that. So hopefully this doesn't sound like me just like jerking myself off, but
no, I think
I'm just like really excited that like I've got to do so much that like I don't think other people have done yet, and hopefully it like shows other devs like, oh, like we can do something that's not just this sound. Like we can get our composers to like go fucking batshit and like jump scare our readers.
Yeah, audibly, of course. But no, I think that's something to be proud of, Steve. That's a cool thing that you're fucking doing. I mean, amongst all the other cool things, but moving the visual novel soundscape industry, that's probably too corporate to a word to put it, but yeah, I mean the scene, so to speak, it's cool that, you know, you're so involved in that. And
yeah,
is that your like main income, would you say?
Yeah, I
like it for work, is that like what you do?
Yeah, I would say it is. Like I have like a daytime AV tech job, but like they don't really schedule me often enough for that to like be my main income. I kind of pretend that job doesn't exist until they like send me a gig, and then I'm like, oh, I have some fun money this month. But yeah, no, like, and I guess like the whole like visual novel thing, like I'm extremely like grateful to have now, because I started like making music and like putting it out on the internet. Like, I don't know, everyone's their own worst critic of their old music, but like it was really bad. A lot of my old like electronic stuff like is hidden on Bandcamp, and I will probably never let anyone see it again. But like, God, I think the oldest thing I have up on Bandcamp might be, if it's not 2009, it's at least 2010. And so that was, you know, like 14 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Getting to this point is very much like, you know, not to quote a meme, but like it's very like I had to grind for this view. And granted, like it's not the most extravagant view. Like I'm still like just living in a 2-bedroom condo with my husband. I have like, I don't know, I think $200 in my bank account right now, and that's only until our electric bill is due. But like,
oh, no.
I'm not doing crazy good, but I am like finally in a position where like I've worked all this time to get to a point where like I could actually, mostly at least, pay my bills like with my music, and like have that pay for it more than like some passionless fucking brain dead corporate job.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like immensely grateful that I'm finally in a position where I can say that, because there's definitely like the shitty thing, I guess, about like making music and like capitalism and trying to do a passion, and the only way you really have time to do that passion is to monetize it, is when the monetization doesn't go well. It's like, well, I want to do this, but is it worth it? And if it's not worth it, am I good at it? Like having, I don't know, tying a passion with capitalism and like trying to like pay your bills with it, like is a very easy way to like start to get like imposter syndrome or doubt your work or even like hate your work. I definitely had like a few years where like I'd put an album out and then like it wouldn't pay rent, and I'd be like, fuck, like is there even any point in me making music? And like it's such an unhealthy headspace to get into. And thankfully like I'm in a position where I don't have to link those as much. But yeah, that's definitely not a good headspace to be in. So I'm super thankful that like I'm more stable and able to pay things, like just get my rent paid, writing music. It's not always paid by my original releases that are just for me. Like it's my main income is definitely writing for other people, but they're asking me to write stuff I'm excited to write. So it's still kind of doing what I want to do.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like, it's a very different, thing to be like scoring like furry visual novels versus you know, like fucking whatever, like blockbuster, you know, new Hollywood shit. Like it's something very almost entirely uniquely furry to be in this like very community like driven space where art, whether it be auditory art or visual art or whatever it may be, is so community funded, and in a way that's like free and exploratory, and
For sure.
and in a way that's just like you can do what you want to do, to some extent. Of like, there's of course going to be a prompt for kind of what they need for their project, but there's room to do what you want to do, which is just really cool.
Well, also, like, it's again, like, getting into a position where, like, people kind of know what your wheelhouse is, or I guess if, like, you have multiple spokes on that and they seek you out for that thing, then it's just like, oh, cool, like, I get to do more of the thing I like doing. Like anytime someone's like, oh, like, I need some ambient music, like I said, like, yeah, hell yeah, like, I'll fire up the pedal board, like, let's fucking go. I'm so down to make fucking sleepy, pretty music. I love doing that shit. Like, I love making fucked up, angry, pissed off, heavy shit. But, I have, like, I don't even want to count these right now. Like, 30 pedals hooked up right now. Like, I gotta use them. Yeah. I got these lads are expensive. I gotta put this shit to use. But yeah, and like the Blockbuster stuff, like orchestrating scores, like, is really cool too. I would like to do that more, and I've been over the years trying to invest when I can and like contact libraries for stuff like that. But I think it's also a little bit big brain, a little bit bigger than mine usually is, because like one of the visual novels I work for, I kind of am like the environmental composer, and I do a lot of like the ambient cinematic stuff, but the main composer does a lot of orchestrated stuff, and it's like really impressive to listen to. And sometimes I'm like, I'd like to do that, but I'm also kind of glad it's your job to do that, because I feel like I would have a headache trying to like compose this. Yeah. So go off, you can have that. I'll do my funny little himbo sleepy time songs.
Oh, I love that. It's nice that there's a place for both of those roles in something like that. That's very cool. If you had a recommendation or advice for someone wanting to get into like music for visual novels or for video games, would it be to like kind of do the thing that you're doing in terms of like making the music you like to create, and kind of building this like library of content for people, like almost like a portfolio or like a resume to people to send to these projects and say, here's what I can do, or here's what I like to do, rather. And
I think that would that's probably the way to go. I know like a lot of the visual novel community, like everyone knows everyone talks to everyone, at least to some degree. I don't have time or the social energy to know everyone, but like I have a lot of friends that like are working, like just have their hands in like every fucking pie. Like there's a coder I know that's like worked on like 4 or 5 of the major ones that are out. I know another one on one of the teams I'm with. I think he told me he's like helped with coding on like 12 or 13. And I was like, how do you have time?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like,
are these like ongoing
it's a lot of like
projects?
Yeah. There are a lot of them. I assume most of them are ongoing. So the way I kind of got my, I don't know, foot in the door, I guess, is a local friend started working on a project. This isn't exactly how I got my foot in the door. Like it feels unfair to like overlook this. So we started working on a project, and then like life happened, and the writer / creator had to like deal with life, deal with job, buying a house, and visual novel had to take a back seat to all that. And that one didn't really go super far. So like that one's not really how I got to where I am, but I don't want to be like act like that one didn't exist. I feel like the way I really like actually got to the point where I can pay my bills doing all this is there's a visual novel I mentioned earlier called Remember the Flowers, and it's doing pretty dang well. Shout out to everyone working on the team for that, because it's not just me. There's also like 3 other musicians on the team.
Oh, wow.
It has a big team. There's
awesome.
a lot of people that either are working on or have worked on it. So I extremely cannot take any singular credit for that. Like, my friend Mo, who I mentioned previously, has done probably as much music as I have for that. And then there's also Leslie, who produces as Hop, Skip, and the Chew Toys. They've done some shit for it. There's another person called Abuse that does like really creepy, atmospheric, like ambient horror almost sounding stuff that's been used in it. So like it's not just me. Like there's a whole palette of people creating for that. But anyway, the point of all that is my friend Josh is like co-director and also kind of like the soundtrack music director, I guess. He's the main person we talk to. Like, I'm also friends with and talk to the writer, but usually like Josh hits me up and is like, hey, Jericho needs this for this scene. Can you do it? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it. We're good. Josh originally hit me up like, hey, so we like, he listens to my ambient stuff. Like he already was a fan of that and listened to it a lot. And was like, hey, could we like license this song to use in this scene? And that's how I got started, like really, at least in like this current era with like all the stuff I've networked with. He hit me up and was like, yeah, can we license this? Can we use this? And I was like, yeah, go off. Like, I know you're not going to milkshake duck me. I've known you long enough that you're not going to like accidentally be an asshole. I can trust you with my music. That's fine. Like, go off. And then he'd ask me, you know, every once in a while, like, oh, like you just put this out, like, can we use this? It really fits this. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, go for it. And then after a couple times of doing that, I was like, can I just like write original stuff for you? Because I played it and became a fan of it, and I'd get to scenes where there wasn't any music yet, and I'd be like, hey, like I thought of something that would like fit here. Can I write something for this? And now, you know, like I've done a shitload of music for that. And then people found me through that. String Zero, Northern Lights, those were the next 2 I got put on. And they found me through Remember the Flowers. And then, you know, it just kind of kept exponentially growing from that. So people, like once you get your foot in the door, people see your work and then they hit you up.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like trying to like wrangle my ADHD to like actually concisely answer this, but basically, yeah, like Josh came to me because he already liked my ambient and post-rock music that was out and asked to put it in that. And then I was like, all right, but like, can I also compose original stuff? And then it basically blew up from there. Yeah. So like to answer what you said, like, I don't know, at this point, 10 fucking minutes ago, like, yeah, like make what you like to make, put it up on Bandcamp, put it out there. And, that can be a way for you to get your foot in the door. Like people see what you're good at, what you're passionate about, want your stuff in their thing. And then once other people, you know, see your stuff in something, they'll be like, oh, but I want you to make stuff for me too. And it kind of snowballs from there. Or at least that's what my journey has been. Like one of my friends took a shot on me, which I'm super grateful for, asked to put my stuff in a thing. And from that point on, I've said yes to so much work that very soon I will probably have to start saying no.
That's a good place to be. Hell yeah. Well, sweet. That's like, I love, it seems like, I love your journey with that. And I appreciate you, you know, talking about, you know, how you got to where you are. And, I'm sure people, you know, will appreciate that, and recognize that it's, not the journey that everyone will have, but
yeah, for sure. Like, I don't want to like put that out there and be like, make an album and put it on Bandcamp, and then your dreams come true. Like, there, at least for me, like, there definitely were like quite a few years of just being like, well, I'm making it just because I like it, because it's definitely not paying rent.
Right, yeah.
Like, if there's any advice to give in all of this, first and foremost, if you write music, if you fucking create anything, do it because it's what you want to see or hear. Like, make it for you before you make it for anyone else, because sometimes, like, you're the one person enjoying it, or maybe other people are enjoying it, but it's like not paying your rent. Like, you can't allow your, like, you can't allow like commodification to like fuck you up too much. Like, if it becomes your job, and if you can, you know, make some money off of it, that's cool, that's good, like, get your bag, that's fine, that rules. But definitely appreciate that, like, you enjoying what you make has to come before anything else.
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. And just to like kind of recap what you said, and I guess kind of more concisely, it seems like, you know, making a catalog, or at least, you know, songs that represent the things that you like and that you're passionate about, finding or being a part of, and being involved in community, knowing people is, you know, where you're going to get opportunity. So interacting and becoming friends with people who are in these creative circles, especially in furry, you know, they're going to be the ones who ask you to do these projects. So that's definitely a key part. And then being bold and asking, like, you know, hey, I see where, you know, my skills could, or my interests, my passions in music could be applied to this part of your project. Like, give me a shot, basically. And like,
I think like two things that really help for sure are just like making your shit, being passionate about it, and definitely, like I said, like doing it for you before anyone else, because that has to be what comes first if you're gonna have like any kind of healthy relationship with creating stuff. Make your stuff, put it out there, and then, you know, if you have the chance to, like, you know, offer your stuff, like, definitely shoot your shot. Like, we were at FWA last month, and I was hanging out with like the whole squad of like visual novel creators. Like a couple of them were people I'd already been working with for like multiple years. Some of them, like my friend Josh I mentioned before, like I've known him for over a decade, but it was the first time I'd got to hang out with him in like straight up 9 fucking years.
Wow. Yeah.
And then there are like people I was new to hanging out with. I met like the person that created Liar, and like he's super fucking cool and nice. And we were like walking back from getting food, and he was talking to someone about like how he's gonna start working on like the next chapter of his visual novel. Like chapter 1 is done, but the story continues into chapter 2. And I was like, kind of like just making a dumb horny joke at him, like, hey man, I'm apparently like the public use musician here. if you happy Pride, everyone. That's my funny little gay joke for this.
Hell yeah.
I was like, hey, like, I'm the public use musician in this group of friends, apparently, because like 3 or so of the people there are, I wouldn't say my bosses because they're friends, but like they're people that tell me what to do and then pay my rent for me. So in a way, my bosses.
Right.
I was like, hey, like, I'll make stuff for you. I'll make some funny sounds for you. Let's fucking go. And he was like, oh, you're a friend. I don't want to use you. I want to collaborate with you. And I'm like, all right, but like, let me have my dumb little joke here. But yeah, like, and that was just like a fun little networking moment where like, I was like, hey, I'll make a fucking thing for you. It'll be fun. Let's do it. And he was like, yeah, I'm down. So, yeah, put your stuff out there. And then like, if you can, you know, meet up with people and be like, hey, I think it'd be cool to make a thing for you. Shoot your shot. I think a lot of people are getting into the idea of like doing like having like their primary composer or composers and then like seeing a moment coming up in like the story they're writing where it'd be like, oh, but like also this person, we should do a feature for them and have them do a song or two because like their thing would make sense here. Like I think that's a thing people are, you know, getting into trying. So yeah,
That's cool. Hell yeah.
It doesn't have to always just be me or Mo. I think like there's like, I don't even think, I know there's like a couple people that have like thought like, oh, it's hard to get into visual novels because everyone only wants to work with Mo and Steve. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to monopolize. I just like, I don't say no because I like doing this and I have bills to pay.
That's a good problem to have, I suppose.
But also like, yeah, I'm almost at my, I don't want to say at my limit because that sounds like I'm about to have a meltdown, but I'm definitely like reaching my bandwidth where I'm like, all right, like I ostensibly, is that even the word I want to say? I probably should like chill out a little bit before I like have to like hire a secretary or something to like help me keep track of everything I need to do. Because the more I say yes, the more I have to remember to do. And with ADHD, that's a whole thing. So and it seems like a lot of people want to do it. Like there was like just the virtual reality con Ferality, and like there was a panel on that, and people were asking about doing visual novels there. There was like a panel at MFF on it. There's going to be one at Anther Weekend Utah about it. Like, despite how many there are already, people still want to make them. Like, it's definitely, I think it's fair to say like there's a renaissance for it right now. Like a lot of people really want to, you know, tell their funny little gay stories, and that rules. And there's certainly has to be more than enough room for everybody that like wants to make music for them. Like I do a lot, but I can't do all of it. So yeah, get your shit out there. Like get it out there. Hopefully, you know, you'll get to make the sad crybaby scene music like I have been.
Or get one of your friends to start making a project so you can you know, be in it on day one.
Yeah, for sure. And getting in day one is so good. Just because like there's definitely been ones where a couple that I got into, I got brought in after the fact, so I didn't get to like set the initial tone and like be like, I'm going to decide like the musical language of this, I guess, for lack of better words. Establish like how that's gonna sound. Whereas with other ones, because I'm in sooner and I've like towards the beginning and I wrote the body of the work, I get to like basically set the musical narrative and like the tone for all that, and get to establish motifs for the visual novel from the start. Like if I can say anything else about all this kind of stuff to like someone that's like an aspiring composer, especially for something like this, if you can like link up with someone from the very start and start planning motifs, I cannot like stress enough how huge and great it is to like start planning motifs and building out your soundtrack from the very start, and like just be able to put things in and plan them way ahead of time and start planting those little seeds in people's brains where like they hear something and it like makes them start crying and they don't even like realize it's happening until like, you know, they're already like tearing up. Like that's my thing. I really want to push. Because like I said earlier, like it feels like the standard and like the, you know, the baseline of quality is really getting raised, and everyone's like, you know, trying to budget for composers instead of using, you know, Creative Commons music. And, you know, like it's very expensive, or it can be, to make a visual novel. So like, you know, even if you can't afford to hire a composer, that doesn't mean you don't have a story worth telling. It just means like, you know, you might have to use Creative Commons stuff or find stuff. I know Jeremy, who is Red Means Recording, he does lots of like gear reviews on YouTube. he's been putting out free to use Creative Commons music for people to like use in not just visual novels, but I definitely like pushed that at him a little bit, like, hey, people could use your stuff in this, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess they could. So there's options out there. But anyway, back on topic. Boy, it sure is obvious how ADHD I am. Yeah, if you can get in from the jump with someone creating something, or maybe you have a friend that's like toying with the idea and hasn't fully committed yet, just be like, hey, do the thing. Like,
yeah, I'll help you write it or something.
Like,
you know,
like, yeah, like encourage your friends to create. And then if you can get in from the start and start establishing leitmotifs and stuff for characters or certain moods or scenes, like that's so huge. I'm so excited for the chances where I'm going to get to do that and to see other people do that kind of stuff more. Because I just know, like, there's games like Journey, who Austin Wintory composed for. That game is probably the number one example for me. And then followed probably by like Masayoshi Soken doing Final Fantasy 14. But definitely Austin Wintory was where I like actually like had a solid conceptualizing of like, oh, this is a thing I can do to like emotionally manipulate people.
Yeah.
But like in a wholesome way, in a good way, not in a scary bad way.
Gotta make them
like,
feel something.
Yeah, like there's songs from that game. And like, I think the first time I played it, God, at this point had to have been like 10 years ago. There's songs from that game that will still make me cry. Like just hearing it, like not even like playing the game. Like I'll just hear it. Like I'll open up the credits song, I Was Born for This from Journey, and be like, oh yeah, this still makes me feel shit. Or like Melodies of Life from Final Fantasy 9, or Outer Wilds. Like that game's my whole fucking personality now. And like the soundtrack to that game, my God, like Outer Wilds fucked me up. I ugly cried to that game. And like, yeah, and it's just like, if you can, like I said, like get in from the start and start really thinking about how you want to compose the musical language of a story and tie that narrative to like the actual words people are saying or reading, and like start programming, like, you know, that little Pavlovian switch in people where like they hear a couple notes and they're like, oh fuck, like before they're even conscious of it, their brain is like, oh, it's time to cry now. Right. Yeah. Okay, good. Like do that. 'Cause that shit, I'm so fucking here for that shit.
Yeah. That's, I mean, that's the whole point of stories, right? Is get people, you know, have an emotional experience to latch onto and
yeah,
you know, feel something. Oh, that's incredible. We love motifs and love musical
good shit.
Storytelling. That's so good. Hey there, folks. Hope you're enjoying the conversation so far. I wanted to take a quick break to give you another little sample of this Plasma Cutter release while I talk about my music zine. You can find the zine online at hmzine.com. That's H and 4 M's zine.com. Here you'll find all my interviews as well as all previous issues of the zine. On the site you can also find the link to my newsletter. If you want to subscribe to that, I'll send you an email whenever I put out a new zine or any of my other big projects. You can also get the same info through my Telegram if that's more your thing. That's t.me/huntiesdudes. If you'd like to support what I do here, you can grab a physical copy of the zine at double-dog.com, or if you want, you can send a couple bucks my way through my tip jar. Otherwise, giving this podcast a like, comment, or review or share helps as well. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Ooh, a lot of good stuff there. I appreciate all your all your words. They're very good.
I can throw together way too many about shit.
It's a good way to be, you know. Passion is very obvious. I suppose we should talk about your new album.
Yeah.
Like an hour
it's
into
only been
this.
like over an hour. I guess we should talk about the reason you hit me up.
No, I think it's cool to go on a bunch of different topics and just shoot the shit.
Yeah,
Hopefully
like I said,
enjoy it.
If nothing else, if people are like doing their dishes to this, they can do a lot of fucking dishes to it now.
Hell yeah, I can do your dishes,
Happy
your
to
laundry.
help you get through your fucking homework.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Or wait, no, it's fucking June. Who has homework right now?
I mean,
never mind. Your tasks. Happy to help you do your little sim tasks.
Yes, your silly little gay tasks, whatever they are. So Plasma Cutter 3. Tell me. Well, first of all, I love the silly little song titles that I could see from the Bandcamp.
Yeah.
What's I mean, tell me how you came at this album.
How did I? It kind of like went through some stages. Originally I planned on doing a lot more songs with lyrics and vocals and stuff. And then like during part of the writing process, I went through some shit, but that shit's better now. And a lot of the stuff that I wrote when I was going through the shit is like a little too like it's tonally incongruent now. Let's say that. I'll probably still release, some of that stuff as like, an EP with B-sides or rewrite the lyrics or, something like that. But it went through some changes, and all of my projects are kind of like just perpetual works in progress. Like I finished the first full-length Blade of Phanes album and then immediately was already writing the next one, and that's the same thing for Plasma Cutter. Like I put out Summer Vacation in 2020, and like even before that really went anywhere, I was already working on the songs that would end up being on the third album. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of tried to give it like a very loose implied theme. Like the album art's like potion bottles and a sword, and it's kind of like there's really nothing listening to it to like imply that like, oh, you're having like a JRPG adventure to this album. But like in my fucked up little head, like somewhere in there it's like, yeah, that's what's going on in this.
yeah I think it makes sense.
But yeah, it's got a little bit of a vibe like that, for me anyway. And I knew I wanted it to be a little bit shorter. I don't know if I'm ever gonna write an album as long as Summer Vacation. I was very unhinged with that. It's like 17 tracks long, and that in hindsight I'm like, all right, like I like all of them. A bit much to digest. Maybe I won't do that again. Because I think a lot of my stuff, like I visualize specific like scenes where I'll listen to it. Like Plasma Cutter for me is very much like, so like I said earlier, like I'm very much trying to like not like just outright like mimic how the pillows sound, but the way the first time I saw Fully Cooley made me feel, like when people listen to Plasma Cutter, like I kind of want it to do that for them.
Yeah.
And so there's that, but also the first time I ever went to California, I went to hang out with my friend Evan and road trip to a convention with him, and then came back and stayed with him for like a week afterwards, I think. And that whole week, I think I almost exclusively listened to Anamanaguchi, Balance and Composure, Diarrhea Planet, and a little bit of the story so far, I think.
Nice.
So like there's this like deeply embedded vibe in my head of like chiptune and garage rock and pop punk and a little bit of like post-hardcore and emo vibes that are just like solidified and crystallized as this like perfect example of like road tripping along the West Coast, like as the sun's setting and just like having like these sick ass vibes, hanging out with your friends, listening to fun music.
And that's Plasma
and even
Cutter.
if it's like, yeah, like even if it's not like, you know, directly sounding like those 4 albums, that whole vibe, like, and that was like, I think 2 years before the first Plasma Cutter album came out, I think. That's like a vibe I'm always trying to chase, I think. And I want to explore more and do different stuff to some degree, but like I definitely want every Plasma Cutter album to feel basically like, oh, I'm going on a road trip with my friends and we're like having the craziest time and it's so fun. And I think the reason Summer Vacation ended up being so fucking long is I was just like, yeah, really long, because like we're road tripping to it. And I think afterwards I had to be like, yeah, but like that's not gonna be most of the time when people listen to it. So for 3, and I'm just calling it Swords and Junk as a nickname because the actual title is really long. For Swords and Junk, I just was like, all right, like let's rein it a little bit and have a little more concise like energy with it. And like be really unhinged with it. Like I'm very into like 2006 ass like Hot Topic fucking just goofy ass sasscore pop punk emo like song titles like fucking like Fall Out Boy and the Great Redneck Hope, except for some of their song titles that are definitely questionable and didn't age well.
Yeah.
But just like goofy like 20 word long names that are just like a whole fucking narrative under themselves. Like
right.
I've gotten very into that. So like the first Plasma Cutter album, you know, I kind of had like a narrative idea in my head that I followed, and I took it a little seriously, and all the songs are like normal, short, not that crazy. And then I did Summer Vacation, and you know, the first 2 songs are just like, oh, Summer Vacation, Quarter Machine, that's normal song names, right? And then the third song is like, I like to call this one Dropping the Pretense. And I specifically called that song that because at that point I was like, all right, here's where all this fucking dumbass, goofy ass fucking bullshit names are gonna start hitting you. And then for, you know, Swords and Junk, I just followed through with that energy. Like the full title of the album is literally Swords and Potions and Crystals and Sweet Tea and Flowers and Spell Scrolls and Drawings of Dogs and Some Songs. Which, like, why? Why would you do that?
Why not is the real question.
Yeah.
No, but I think it makes a lot of sense for the kind of music that it is, because it's like with mostly like instrumental stuff that has like so much of a vibe to it, I think it helps a lot to have these like ridiculous and almost like storytelling song titles, because it's just like, oh, you get a lot of like whether it be comedic or narrative information from these song titles themselves. I think it helps a lot for that kind of music.
Yeah, like some of them are just like there's one called Look, I Just Get Really Emotional About Dogs, Okay? And in that song, I found the sound font for KK Slider and just like made him sing in my song. And there's a song called like Tony Hawk's Existential Nightmare, which is like based on that meme of someone like collecting all the times Tony Hawk tweeted about people being like, you look like Tony Hawk, it'd be crazy if you were him. And he's just like, yeah, that would be crazy, huh? Like, you know, there's little hints at like why I, you know, did things in certain ways. And like even the song or the whole album itself is kind of a reference. Like I'm very down to like wear my DNA on my sleeve of like where like what my musical journey has been and like all the stuff I love and listen to. So like I grew up in high school just straight up being a scene kid. Like I was all about that shit. Fucking size 5 women's jeans absolutely would not fit in that now. But you know, like I was into all that shit, and like I grew up on Norma Jean. I grew up fucking looking at like top 10 sickest breakdowns ever videos. And like so like fucking love Norma Jean. They had like was this like a compilation album? Yeah, they had a compilation album called Birds and Microscopes and Bottles of Elixir and Raw Steak and a bunch of songs. And I was like, you know what? Like I fucking love Norma Jean, and that's so fun. I want to do something dumb like that. And so I did. And that's why Swords and Junk has such a fucking dumb long name. Like, because I'm unhinged and don't say no to my own crazy ideas. And I like Norma Jean. So, you know, they're crazy and heavy.
Yeah.
And Plasma Cutter isn't necessarily like, I'll throw a funny little, you know, like easy core breakdown in there once in a while. But it's definitely not the same energy. And I think that's really fun.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh my goodness. I love all of that so much.
Yeah. It's also just exciting to like finally be able to talk about it and be like, yeah, it's coming out.
Yes.
God, like I started writing it in 2020, and imagining it like taking a whole fucking like United States presidency to put an album out feels so long, so painfully long. But yeah, I think I finished it like 2 years ago. Actually.
Wow. Oh, okay.
It's been done for a minute. Like I already have like 4 or so work in progress tracks for the next album because they just never stop. But
you're insane.
Yeah, I finished that a couple years ago, and I was trying to figure out who I wanted to do as a label for it. Just because I wanted to switch stuff up. Like,
yeah.
The first 2 albums I did with Tiny Waves, and Tiny Waves was friends. And I kind of went to them just because like they did video game remixes, and I was like, I don't know, there's Chiptune. I guess that's kind of the same energy. Also, I don't know anyone else that like I personally know that I can be like, hey, can you put my album out so people will actually like listen to it?
Right, yeah.
So I went with them. But after the first 2 albums, like they're very like, you know, putting video game remixes out, and it's a lot of that, and also a lot of the cover art is just like anime girls. And I'm like, you know what, live your true life if that's your jam. But like, it doesn't really feel like me to like be putting this like, you know, high energy pop punk chiptune emo road trip music out, just like surrounded in a discography like of like anime girl releases. So I was like, all right, well, what feels right? And I came across Lonely Ghost Records, and they're so fucking cool. I love Lonely Ghost, and I was like, you know what, that's who I want to go with, because I'm just tight with some of the people on it. Like I love Caleb from Hey I Love You, they're so fucking cool. Jasmine from Exciting Excellent, so fucking cool. Like The Merrier, there's so many fucking cool bands and musicians on Lonely Ghost, and they're very DIY. They're very like, you know, they like actually have like a moral compass and ethos. Like everyone on that band will be like, hell yeah, trans rights, hell yeah, like free Palestine, like hell yeah, fuck cops. Like everyone on that label, like, you know, aligns with stuff that's important to me. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, like I don't belong with just like video game remixes. Like there's chiptune stuff in this, but like DIY emo is like the actual spirit of like this shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I started talking to them, and we ran out of time to like really figure anything out, and just also like a lot of waiting and like trying to like make communication happen through Twitter and just stuff like that. And eventually I was like, all right, well, like, what if I just put it out on my own and then we can figure something else out? And they were like, well, we're down to like what if we help you do tapes? And I was like, yo, that's so fucking huge. So Swords and Junk isn't officially a Lonely Ghost release, but it's like their first kind of like shot at like being like I don't even know what you would call it, but basically being like, yeah, like we fuck with your vision, let's help you, you know, make your thing happen. So it's not an official release, but they're helping me make the tapes. And that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like doing the J card design for it was so fun. Cause like I have, you know, multiple irons in the fire for like the creative stuff I do. Like I do graphic design, I do illustration shit. And so because I'm both like so music brain and also so graphic design brain, like I'm the kind of person to like visualize packaging for an album. Like I have like mocked up Photoshop files of like the top 3 color variants I would do on a vinyl release for like every Plasma Cutter album, even though that's like super not in the cards right now.
Right.
But like I'm so fucking excited to like finally see one of my releases on like something physical and tangible. Like I'm super stoked on that. So yeah, that's
is this like the first time that will be a thing like that? Oh, congrats.
Thanks. And like tapes aren't super expensive. It's just hard for me to, you know, it's still like, you know, around 350 to do a run of 50. And it's like, well, that's my utilities and some groceries. So I don't know, like it's hard to justify it. Like if you're not going out on tour and like can like put it at a merch table and make people grab it.
Right. Exactly.
But I, like I said, like I like the idea of like having a tangible little thing of my work and like designing it and making it look cool. And also just like I'm very neurotic and like worry about weird shit. So like in my fucked up little brain, I'm very like, what if like there's a solar flare that wipes out everyone's hard drive and every server and all of my music is gone forever. I need all of it on vinyl right now, so when we're all in vaults like Fallout, people can still listen to my music and I won't lose all of it.
Oh my god.
So that's the big goal. Eventually I want all of my music on vinyl. So if the sun erases all our computers, I won't lose it all. That's my end goal.
Yeah. No, I mean you absolutely deserve to have your music on physical media. You know, something that you can hold in your hand is just is so cool, and it's
also just like a fun thing to like share with people and also like offer to friends.
Yeah. Like here's a fucking cassette that I made.
Yeah, it's just like a cool thing to be able to do. Like my fucking friend Idolin, like she's a local producer, she's moving soon. But she's one of the people in the like the one and only Plasma Cutter music video. And she came over, what was it, yesterday, I think, to grab some symbols that I had borrowed from another friend that had borrowed from her. I don't think I even knew they were hers until she asked if I had them. I was like, yeah, you can come get them. I live in a condo now, so I'm definitely not playing drums. But I was like, hey, like, when are you moving? Like, what's the date? 'Cause like, you know, I have these tapes coming. You were in the first Plasma Cutter music video. I think it'd be really cool to, you know, like hook you up with a tape. Like, you know, just like a cool little, like, yes, it's my music and I worked hard on it and that's fun, but like also just like a fun little, you know, physical thing to share with a friend. Like that's a fun thing to me.
Yes. Oh, 100%. That's such a lovely like experience to be able to hand someone like not only, you know, your music, but like a whole package of just like I made everything in this, and like I just want to like share it with you.
Yeah.
So sweet. So sweet.
Also, just like the physical package aspect, like I'm like talking in circles here, but like again, like I'm very like, you know, like graphic design minded, so I'm very into the idea of like it's music, you're listening to it, but doing a whole like cohesive physical presentation of it. Like the idea of doing vinyl, and like the vinyl matches the album art, and like the liner notes, and the jacket looks cool. Like all that shit is so fucking sick to me. I love that shit.
Yes. Oh, I'm so with you as someone who is very visual art brained and music production the person. I'm with you. I love the idea of having everything like cohesive, and it appeases a very strong need when you set out to make a project, and to be able to just have a physical thing with everything in it being cohesive and working to create a whole experience. That's so fun.
Yeah, like you said, like making it like a whole experience, like that's the fucking jam. Like I don't want to make shit just for the sake of like putting junk in the world and giving people things to have. Like it's more like just that whole like, I don't know, hopefully like I'm making music for people, or people will find it at least, that like music is like, you know, this whole experience for them, and you know, people still like want to like, I don't know, put a tape in or put a record on, and then just like actually like look at it and be like, all right, I'm hearing this, but like also like the people that made this like planned this whole visual experience to go with it, and that's cool. Like,
yeah,
I love that shit. Like I have the deluxe edition of Define the Great Line by Underoath, which like doesn't, I think like the actual lyric booklet for it is way bigger than the normal release, and like they just have like this whole fucking like narrative they did like with the photo shoots for it, and I was like, what the fuck, this is so fucking cool. And like yeah, I don't know, like maybe I care about it more than the average person just because like I'm a fucking graphic design nerd. But like, yeah, having like a cool, cohesive, visual, physical thing to go with an album is like just so sick to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, if people aren't necessary, I think people experience it subconsciously, even if they're not thinking about it. So they're enjoying it, whether or not they're like realizing that each little aspect is carefully, you know, picked to be representing, you know, the whole. That's
I think like anyone I know that like gives a damn about vinyl enough to actually like go out of their way to get it and collect it, like all of them like are like so fucking jazzed to like see like a pressing that like looks cool. Like you fucking like, if I managed to do Swords and Junk on vinyl, it'd probably be like clear with like beige and pink splatter. And I know people that would go fucking absolutely ape shit about like how cool that would look with the art. I'm the people in the tweet. But like, or you know, like any fucking album. Like I got the new the new fucking Knocked Loose. Like the album art's just like that like scary shit of that like girl standing in the woods like staring at the like light up cross, and I think I have the variant that's like brown and green splatter, and I'm like, yes, that shit's so fucking cool, it's just like the art. So like, yeah, I fucking live for that shit. It's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't help but mention that you have like a whole design brand, and I think that's so cool that you like work with, I mean, you have your own shit and you do commissions, and you work with other brands. I know you've done stuff with Howl Out.
Oh my funny little shirts, FERAMVSA. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, that is a thing I do.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to hopefully do more. Like Wolf and I have definitely talked about doing more stuff for Howl Out.
Sick.
We want to do more of the straps. God bless him. He's so fucking busy. That boy needs like 20 employees and 20 vacations.
Oh, I know. Oh my god.
But when he has the energy to do more, we definitely want to do more stuff. I think there probably will be more made. I'm not sure, but I did a design for Nat for Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir, and
yes,
I'm so mad because like I'm definitely like willing to be like, yeah, that's my shit. I'll fucking wear it. I don't care. I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I don't relate to people that like don't want to listen to their own music or don't want to rock their own shit. Like,
yes.
Why would I expect anyone to give a fuck about what I make if I don't like it myself? So
yes.
like, I made that shirt for Nat, and then I fucking lost it, and I'm so mad because like they don't have any more. I think they might make more. I don't want to speak for them, but I think they might make more. And I was like, please let me know if you make more, because I wore that shirt fucking constantly. And I think I might have lost it at my husband's parents' house. And hopefully it's still there. But, like, part of me is afraid, like, they're very nice, but let's just say they don't exactly politically align with us.
I mean, whose parents really do?
Yeah. But, like, it's a Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir shirt. And, like, not all of my stuff for FERAMVSA is like politically pointed, but a good handful of it is. So there's already that going for it, but then like me doing a shirt for Nat, like, yeah, I'm gonna put like fucked up messaging and imaging and like put pictures of like fucking Tucker Carlson and Ronald Reagan with their eyes blacked out and shit on the back. And I'm like, well, I hope his parents didn't find that shirt, because maybe it's gone. I don't know.
He said, get this satanic shit out of our house.
Yeah, like the sleeves have like Nat's lyrics on them, and I think it says like, before if you, what the fuck are the lyrics? It's like, know if you hate us, we fucking hate you, or, you know, something like that on the sleeves. And I'm like, oh boy, well, this is just an entire thing of something I'm not sure a boomer's gonna vibe with.
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I did that with them. I don't know. There's hopefully more, you know, in the pipeline to do stuff for Howl Out stuff. You know, Wolf is like definitely looking to like work with more people, if nothing else, just to help lighten the load of work on him and Azra, because they are just doing so much goddamn work. And I'm very happy I've been able to help him. Like, you know, we did the straps. We want to collaborate on shirts at some point in the future, but I've also just helped with like, I think I've helped with a couple social media posts and just like banner designs for the site. And he's had to like, you know, rework stuff a little bit, but like I get the general thing fleshed out, and then like he'll take over and finish it. And it's just that much less stuff for him to do. So, you know, I'm happy to help him with that. He's just a cool friend. I fuck with the vision.
Yeah.
Love that. And hopefully in the future more will be happening. You know, fucking putting it out there, manifesting this shit. I'll do shit with you.
Hell yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. I'll make a whole ass dumbass design with Hunty.
I would love that.
I'm always fucking busy. Wow. Sorry, the Orlando jumped out. I'm always busy. Wow. All that sleep I didn't get last night. I'm always busy if it's not like working on music or doing design shit.
Hell yeah. Oh my god. I'll make sure to leave links to many things.
How unfortunate. Maybe I'm doing too much. Just making too many things. There's too many links.
Oh no, it's fine. I'll make sure they're all well labeled so that people know what things are and not just a bunch of crazy names.
I'm so sorry you have to make an entire ass directory for all of my shit.
No, it's fine.
Getting out the Dewey Decimal System for my content.
Oh, whatever it takes. Hell yeah. I guess we'll kind of wrap things up. It's been great talking to you.
Yes, I love this because like I don't always get to like talk with you for a long time unless we both end up at a show and I can just like scream at you over everyone else by the merch tables.
Yes. Oh my God, it's very nice to be in a quiet environment, just having a unhinged, unfiltered conversation.
Yeah, because like the last few times we've been able to hang out or talk has just like been like momentously chaotic. Like it's either like shows at Will's Pub or like at Furry Week in Atlanta where there's like 15,000 people.
Yeah.
And like I'm so glad I got to see you like the last night where like next to no one was around, because it was like that was the only time I was gonna say hi and not feel like I was like holding up like 10 people trying to buy a shirt from you.
Oh, I know it's a crazy weekend, but I'm very glad we ran into each other then.
Us creatives be staying busy.
For real, nonstop, you know. We'll definitely have to, you know, chat whenever.
Hell yeah.
I'm always down. It's funny because I feel like after I had my first like podcast interview with Will, I've like definitely had more conversations with them like post fact, and it's just nice to be able to like you know, have conversation.
And Will's so fucking cool. Like I can only imagine like it's just fun to talk to Will about shit.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they're just so sweet, and it's always good to catch up. So we'll have
Everyone's so cool. All my friends are so cool.
Yeah, no. We'll keep it up. We'll make this more of a regular thing.
Let's fucking go.
I guess any parting words, any final advice, or any particular things that you want to shout out or play? I mean, of course the album, but
I've already talked so fucking much.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
The hell up. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's all gonna be the stuff that you link anyway. But yeah, like I guess like I don't know. I'm on Twitter at Hyenablood. That's probably the easiest way to keep up with everything, just because like I'm doing so fucking much all the time forever. But yeah, I mean, you brought me on specifically because Plasma Cutter's dropping, and Plasma Cutter's very fun. I'm excited for that. And if it's not
dropping on 621, of course.
Yeah. Funny little joke. The crazy thing about that is like, okay, so like side note before we get off of here. So I'm, like I said earlier, I've gotten very into just doing like irreverent, really long shit posty, like emo, post rock, pop punk, 2006 ass Hot Topic song titles. They're just really dumb, really long. Sometimes pop culture references that probably will immediately be irrelevant. Whatever. Do what you have fun with. Who fucking cares? But like I named one of the songs like L plus Ratio plus Touch Grace plus Maidenless, just because like I wrote that, and like this is like a testament to like how much of this album happened a long time ago. I wrote that song back when Elden Ring was like still really in vogue. And like before I really like had thought about like, I think before the DLC was even announced, I was like, boy, this one really aged, huh? This feels like reading, because like memes just come and go so fucking fast.
Oh yeah.
And like L plus Ratio, like reading that makes me feel like I need to like be in a retirement home or something. But like now, by some otherworldly force. I did not pick 6/21 on purpose, like being like, oh, that's the Elden Ring date. Like, I'm gonna Horizon Forbidden West myself and compete with the new Miyazaki game. That's a huge brain move.
Oh shit.
But now it's like I have to commit to it just because, like, funny 621 number, but also that is a joke exclusively for your furry listeners.
Oh yeah.
And for people that listen that aren't furries, please do not look it up.
I mean, at your own risk, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe they will
your
be
own self-discovery.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might be furries after they. Look.
Who knows? But yeah, so like I named that song that, and then just somehow I picked the same release date as Elden Ring. I was like, oh, cool, it's relevant again. Great, like I can still like juice this for a little bit longer.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming out, and then like that's what, that's kind of what we were here for. But as excited as I am for that, definitely like if you fuck with heavy music, Blade of Phanes, like check that out.
Yeah, Absence of Light, new album.
That like I think I'm proud of all of my music, but that's one, like, as much as I don't want to be like, oh, please, attention, please, come look at my thing, I'm so proud of it. Like, I don't want to be too, like, e-bag about it, but, like, I'm very proud of that album. And also, like, I talk about a lot of stuff that's, like, super important to me in it. Like, almost every song on that album either was inspired by something specific I didn't think I could talk about on Twitter without getting suspended or arrested for, or at least was like generally inspired by something. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a song on it called Self-Destruct. I wrote that specifically because of the BBC publishing work from Lily Cade, who's like a revolting, unhinged, transphobic freak. Like, around the time that her stuff was going out on the BBC, she had stuff elsewhere. I don't think it was in the BBC. I think it was on her own blog, or I don't know, fucking whatever, who cares, she sucks. But like, she was like saying like lynch trans women, like Oof. gross foul shit.
Oof.
Like the first song I ever wrote for that album, Twisted Roots, was about police violence, and I wrote that because of and during the George Floyd protests. Mm-hmm. Sentenced is specifically about libs of TikTok / Chaya Rychik. Fuck her, she's a freak.
Oh yeah.
Like Violent Impulse and Ninth Circle, I wrote the lyrics for both of those the same night. When Christian Henson from Spitfire Audio came out as a psycho, like when he basically came out and tweeted like, oh, like I support J.K. Rowling and Graham Linehan, and I'm like, haha, wow, fuck you.
Yeah.
That one really, everything I write about pisses me off, but that one really stuck in my brain to a degree, just because like Spitfire Audio acted as if it was like accessible and championing underground artists, and like they had worked with queer people, like they made free or cheap gear, and it's stuff that I used a lot, and if anything, use out of spite now. Just like, all right, well, I already have your thing, I'm just gonna make fucking queer music with it, and you can't do anything about it, asshole.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But like, he did that, and then a bunch of like, LGBA accounts came out of the woodwork to suck him off for it, and it's mostly sock puppet accounts that have no idea what Spitfire is anyway. But there's a few of them that are, like Ernst Rome ass fucking pick me queers that just want to like throw trans people under the bus for fucking what? Like, you're still gonna face the wall, buddy.
Yeah.
But like those two songs those two songs were specifically about that. Like there's I could go on and on. Like Garden of Scorn like is about isn't only about this, but I first started writing it because I got really mad about Christopher Rufo basically publicly admitting that like he's been shitting up public discourse about queer people to like shift the narrative to something conservatives could control. Like basically everything for this project is something I'm very angry about. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's stuff other people are really angry about, and maybe you'll get something out of listening to it. And also, like I said, I'm like 11 songs into writing the next album already, and it's like already even better than this one is. So, you know, if you want to do a funny little prank on me and become a fan of this album, it'll pay off because the next one will be even better and you'll be around to hear about it.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I don't know. Those are my two big things I'm excited for right now.
Fuck yeah. I find a lot of what do you call it? Like emotional release from heavy music about things that I'm angry about. And so I know a lot of people share that too. So
yeah,
go check that.
It's one of the only ways to fucking stay sane right now.
Yeah.
Like I'd probably, I don't know where I'd be if I didn't get these feelings out through my music, but it probably wouldn't be a good place.
Right, exactly. Oh my God. It's nice to have an outlet for it, and I suggest everyone do the same if you have any emotion at all, which, you know, kind of part of human experience. So
make your own shit to get it out of your system, or listen to someone else's stuff and be like, oh, I'm not alone. Someone else feels really, really, really fucked up angry about this too, and you can buy it on Bandcamp for $10.
Woohoo! Hell yeah. Support your artists. Support your local and not local artists.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Again, great talking to you, Steve.
Yes, you too. I fucking love this. Like, this rules, because obviously, dang, I'm a fan of everything you fucking do too. Like, Blind Tiger fucking whips ass, your merch fucking whips ass, your art whips ass. Look at us, we're just making all the fucking cool shit.
Oh fuck. I appreciate it a lot. That's very sweet coming from you.
Oh, I'm just some fucking guy. It's fine. I'm just one of the boys. It's not a big deal.
Oh, get you some friends that are your own hype people. That's the real take home from this whole experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's very sweet. Okay. Hell yeah. I think that's a wrap for me.
Sick. Yeah, I think I'm good. We can probably say bye to everyone. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Listen to our music and go beat up fascists.
Woo! Fuck yeah. I love that. Be gay, do crime, you know, the whole shebang.
Happy Pride Month. Do some fucking ass beating. Throw a brick.
Hell yeah.
Throw a brick. Good night.
Explosion sounds to end in the podcast. Fuck yeah.
10 out of 10 editing. That'll be great.